This week I started an 11-week deficit phase and I'm taking you with me every step of the way, so let's get into it. I'm gonna cover why now, exactly what I'm doing, the mindset I'm taking into this phase, and I'm gonna give you some education and some tidbits to hopefully help you if you're looking at entering a similar phase so we can do this together. This is week 1. This week so far I have done 4 training sessions, I have done 2 Pilates classes, I've hit 10,000 steps per day, and I've gotten at least 120 grams of protein. That's kind of my base level of standards that I've set for the next 11 weeks, and I'll dive into exactly what I'm doing in those sessions as well. Firstly, I want to get into why now, why I'm doing this phase, what it is that I'm wanting to get out of it. And to be honest, I'm doing it because I really want to see what I'm capable of. I don't think that there is anything wrong with my body now. I legitimately love my body, but I know that I'm capable of being stronger. I know that I'm capable of an aesthetic goal that I'd like to achieve. I know that I'm capable of prioritizing cardio fitness and mobility, things that I do as a bare minimum year round, but I don't really push the envelope with that because it's not always a priority, which is fine, but I really want to prioritize that. And when I think about when I set a goal at the start of the year and I did my vision board, I have my vision board behind this wardrobe here and I look at it every single day and I'm looking at it and I've started to achieve some of the goals on there. I've started to achieve things and I'm really proud, but I'm also looking at that vision board and I haven't really prioritized or hit my physique and my fitness goals, and I really do not want to get to December of 2026 not having given it a crack. And I really know that this right now is the time to just kind of relook at what goals that I set for myself at the start of the year. Am I on track? If I'm not on track, this is the time to change that because I don't want to get to the end of the year, like I said, and feel like I haven't achieved it because I haven't prioritized it. And that's simply what it comes down to. So the biggest focus is really challenging myself and making my fitness goals one of my primary focuses for the rest of the year, but especially for the next 11 weeks. I really want to see, one, what I'm capable of. So I want to push my performance in the gym. I have some PBs that I want to get with particular exercises. 2, I'm working around a lower back injury, but I really want to prioritize Pilates 1 to 2 times per week to help me work on the things like mobility and deep core that I know help me move better in my training sessions. So that's something I've recently added and I'm going to do consistently for the next 11 weeks. Step-wise, I haven't been able to track my steps properly for the last few months because my step tracker was broken. So I don't think during that time I was hitting as much daily steps as I'd like. But as a non-negotiable, I will be hitting 10,000 steps per day, which I'm really excited about. Nutrition-wise, this is a bit of an interesting one, and I will make some future videos to cover exactly what it is I have done or planning to do. But I actually want to challenge myself during this phase of achieving what I'm trying to achieve physique-wise and strength-wise and nutrition-wise without tracking my calories. Now, the reason I want to do this is, one, I have tracked my food for a long time and I have a really good understanding of portion sizes and protein intake. And I just think that I want to use what I've learned to apply that to this phase without having to track because, one, I don't really enjoy it. 2, I don't want to have to do it long term. And 3, this is the whole point of that phase. It's building up my nutritional literacy, having a better understanding of what a well-balanced meal looks like, being able to eyeball my portion sizes a lot better so I can do this phase and feel more confident without having to feel reliant on the scales. At least that is my goal. So what I will be doing, again, I have that experience and that's why I think this will be easier to achieve, is I will be eating similar meals each day that I like. I'll put some photos up of the food that I ate this week so far, but each time I eat a main meal, I know that I'm going to have a portion of protein. Now, for the visual girlies, that's going to look like probably a fist size of protein. For me, I don't eat red meat or chicken, so those protein sources are going to come from, let's say, eggs, egg whites, tofu, fish, couple other examples, and that is going to be the way that I know that if I'm having 4 main meals per day on average with snacks, and each of those main meals have on average 30 grams of protein, I know that I'm going to be achieving my 120 gram of protein per day. So if I look at how I'm going to be improving my diet over the next 11 weeks, it's not that I'm doing anything drastically different. Like, that is how I usually eat, but I do think I'm going to push my protein intake a bit more, because I know that if I wasn't having that conscious effort, I'd probably be eating closer to 90 grams of protein. And I really want to make sure I'm eating a higher amount, because one, that will help with my body recomp goal, and two, it's going to help with strength and muscle tone and all of that good stuff. So just dialing in my nutrition a little bit more. As a bit of a background, I haven't drunk alcohol in 2026 so far, and I'm planning on also not drinking during this phase. So I think that I'm feeling good not doing that, and that's also going to help me from a performance point of view and just feeling like I'm really on, because I don't know about anyone watching this, but I always feel like when I do drink, I just feel for the next 2 days lower motivation, sluggish, I'm just not on my A game, and it just feels shit. And that's just not going to suit me for the goals that I have, because other than me having this training goal that I have for the next 11 weeks, I also have big business goals and big potty goals and other things that I want to achieve. And I do think that if I hold myself to a high standard with each of these things, and I know what my biggest priorities are, then I will be able to achieve all of them. And I really, really want to get to the end of the year feeling like I achieved that and I gave it my all. I look back at the start of this year, my tagline or the theme was, higher standards, elevated standards, holding myself to a higher standard. And when I look so far, we're 5 months into the year, there are some places where I've really done that, but there's some places that I know that I can improve. And if there's anyone watching this, I think that it's really useful to be able to audit yourself in a loving way and be like, cool, this is what I'm doing really well, and this is where there's room for improvement. And I think if you do that, then you will, one, be able to actually move forward, and two, be able to have that self-reflection and self-awareness of being like, okay, I have not put as much effort into, insert the thing that I've said is important to me. And if it is important to you, then you will put more effort into it. So that's a bit of a background of why. Now, if I think about what it is I'm wanting to achieve, as a bit of a background, I've said that I want to increase my mobility and core strength. I want to get fitter. I want to get stronger. And visually, I want to see more body recomposition. So I want how my body looks to be more lean and more visually toned, which is just having more muscle tone and having less body fat. I don't really care about an exact scale weight, although I do think I will lose body fat and scale weight as a result of those behaviors that I've just mentioned. But my primary goal and how I'm going to measure my progress is going to be via weighing myself and working out weekly averages, photos, which I'm going to take every 2 to 4 weeks, measurements, mostly looking at my waist measurement that I've taken with a soft tape, and then how I'm feeling and performing. So using all of those things to kind of measure my progress over the next 8 weeks. 8 weeks? 11 weeks. There we go. I want to get into a little bit of education to help anyone who's looking at entering a similar phase, or you're currently in a phase and you're feeling a little bit confused. So I kind of want to break down the different phases and what they kind of achieve. So we have maintenance. It's where you're eating at a similar amount of calories to maintain your weight. We have a deficit, where you're eating less food than your body needs to sustain the amount of weight you have. And then you have a surplus, where you're trying to gain size, you're trying to gain weight. Now, each of those are worked out based on your individualized stats. So your height, your weight, and your activity level. And I can include a macro calculator in the description of this video to help you work out those individualized calories. Otherwise, of course, work with a coach to get the exact information that you need. Now, the reason I wanted to break this down is because I know that there's a lot of confusion around what phase is best for you. And again, I think having the guidance of someone who's qualified is going to be able to figure that out for you. As a general guide, it really depends on what is your biggest priority or focus for the time being. If your biggest focus is on having a big weight loss or fat loss goal, then prioritizing being in a deficit is going to be what you need. If your biggest focus is just on recomp and changing how your body looks, and you're happy to stick around a similar weight, then being closer to your maintenance is going to be a better option for you. And if you purely want to just gain more size and more muscle and you want to weigh more, then that's going to be achieved by being in a surplus. That's a very bare bones description of those 3 phases. Now, like I said at the start of this video, my biggest focus is on a recomp, and I'm also not tracking my calories. So I know that that might sound a little bit confusing, but essentially I know that if I increase my protein intake and I increase my training intensity, then how my body comp look and how I visually look will improve based on my goal. And I also know that if I drive and if I add things in like some additional cardio or some additional movement, or if I reduce my calories if I want to during this phase, then I'm going to elicit more fat loss, aka I will be able to put myself in a deficit by monitoring those things and by reducing my intake or increasing my output. Essentially, for the goal of body recomp, you can either achieve that at maintenance or you can achieve that at a slight deficit where you're prioritizing high protein intake and a high training output. If you have any additional questions about that, or if you want me to clarify, I'm more than happy to do that with future videos. So just let me know in the comments. My feet have gone numb because I was sitting on them, so I've just changed position. Now, I wanted to break down a bit further about my training structure for this phase. So I'm going to be following a 4-day training split that I've written for myself. Those sessions will take about 50 minutes in the gym, and they start off with a little warm-up, mobility focused of what it is that I'm going to be doing in the session. And then I have roughly 5 to 6 exercises. It is a very even balance between upper body and lower body in this phase because that's what I want to prioritize. And I have things in there that I enjoy training and that I need to train, and also that are working on the body parts that I want to continue to gain more muscle size, muscle tone, and get stronger with. So for me, I really want to work on my triceps. I really want to work on doing an incline press. I really want to work on, my core, pretty much everything. But like my main focus would probably be my glutes, my hamstrings, my quads, my triceps, and my shoulders. What have I missed? Maybe back. So yeah, that's what my split will look like. 2 upper and 2 lower, about a 50-minute session. Now, a hot tip is, if you can, I know this is not possible for everyone, but trying to get your training done at a similar time each week will really help you fall into a really good routine rather than just trying to fit it in on the fly. It just makes it a lot harder if you have different obstacles come up. So for me, I will be going to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, first thing in the morning to get my session done. I feel really accomplished that way. I like training at that time. It feels like I've set myself up for the day. And I'll also be doing some walking at the gym as well to help me achieve my step goal, because even though I am an online coach and I work in the fitness space, I spend most of my time on a laptop during the day, and I really want to be able to get a good amount of steps out of the way in the morning so I don't feel that pressure at the evening to play catch up. So I want to try to avoid that as much as possible. So that's what the structure would look like. Now, I'm going to be following a very similar program for the next 11 weeks. And if you're thinking that sounds pretty boring, I know that's what you need to do to achieve progress. I will make some little tweaks along the way, but I'm not reinventing the wheel and completely flipping this program on its head because it's not needed. That outside noise and having to change things all the time is a distraction. And if my goal is to get stronger and to apply progressive overload, I need to be able to do the same exercises and I need to be able to have similar variables to be able to then push either an extra rep or an extra weight without changing things up all the time, because it's not going to let me get the goal that I have and that I want. So 4 training sessions, some small changes along the way, but a very similar training program followed for the next 11 weeks is the goal. Now, one thing I wanted to mention is I do have a little bit of travel coming up between now and then, and I'm going to, when possible, try to get my training sessions done around that before I go away. So usually, like I mentioned, I would get them done like those 4 days spread out, throughout the week. But if I do know that I'm, say, traveling somewhere towards the end of the week, I will just do back-to-back sessions to get them done. It's not ideal, but it's just going to be the thing that allows me to stay consistent. Now, if I go away for a long period of time, I'm just going to adapt with what equipment I have available and just do my best. But I really want to focus on pushing the training intensity, staying locked in with nutrition, and nailing my step goal as a non-negotiable, even when things don't go to plan. So that's going to be my mindset going into this. I also want to get into what I'm not doing to hopefully help anyone that potentially wants to make some of these mistakes, so I can help guide you in the right direction. So what I will not be doing is cutting out food groups, as in avoiding carbs. What I will not be doing is doing, double sessions if I really don't need to. For example, I'm not going to be doing an hour of cardio in the morning followed by an hour of cardio at night or anything like that. I'm going to be prioritizing my 4 resistance training sessions and my steps, and I'm going to be prioritizing rest outside of that. You do not need to do double sessions of resistance training, and you do not need to do only eating clean or no carbs. And if you're someone who's like, but that's going to be the quickest way to get the results, I get it. I used to think that, but it's also going to be the quickest way to fall off because you can't maintain it. And you're also not going to perform very well if you're not fueling yourself properly. So I will not be doing that. Like I said, I will be eating a decent amount of food. I will be prioritizing whole foods. I will be prioritizing a high protein diet, and I will be prioritizing rest, recovery, and performance. I'm really just thinking of myself in this phase as an everyday athlete. I'm wanting to really just focus and prioritize all of those things that I know are actually going to make me feel really good, not just get to the end of this and like how I look but feel like shit. Like, that's never going to happen. I will be maintaining my menstrual cycle, I will be having lots of energy, and I will be achieving my goals. And it will be because of what it is that I just mentioned. I'm not doing anything extreme. Now, next up, I wanted to talk about mindset, because I know that so many of us come in to the new year or come into any fitness goal really motivated and inspired, and then we fall off. And I want to talk about a couple mindsets that I see all the time getting in the way of people achieving their goals. One of those is the all or nothing mindset. One of those is the perfectionist mindset. And one of those is just having unrealistic expectations of what you need to feel week in, week out to get it done. So getting into the all or nothing mindset, it can be that you have this preconceived idea that unless you're training every day, what's the point? Or maybe it's that you think that you need to leave every single training session absolutely wrecked, otherwise it wasn't good enough. They're not the markers of progress. As long as you're getting stronger and as long as you're training with intensity, it doesn't necessarily need to be heart rate and sweaty like potentially when you've done cardio. It's two different things. Also, the mindset of having to smash yourself every day. Like, the reality is, the people who have the physique that you look up to and that, are really strong, or athletes, athletes probably, they're going to be more of the extreme example because that's their job, but you don't need to wear yourself into the ground to get the goal that you want. You can train 3 to 4 days per week and have an exceptional result. I have hundreds of clients that have achieved that, and it hasn't been by having to train every day. So just a reminder that mindset wise, you don't need to do the extremes, okay? So don't let that be a barrier to you starting, or be something that, potentially means that you're spending way longer than you need to be to getting the results that you want. Now, another mindset I wanted to get into is just the mindset and expectations when you get into any goal. So something that I want to talk about is, like, I'm getting into this phase and I know what I want to do every week to tick off the boxes, and I am trusting that accumulation of effort is going to get me the result that I'm wanting. But if you get into something, you get into your fitness goals, and you're micromanaging every single thing, and you're stressing out over the fact that the scales have changed or haven't changed, or that your progress hasn't happened quick enough, you're going to cock block yourself from sticking to it for long enough to get the results, okay? So the mindset that I have going into this is, I've mapped it out, and I know that if I stick to this plan, and if I have a high level of compliance, like if I'm honest with myself every week and I say I gave it my best, and not that I had a perfect week, but I gave it my best and I stayed really consistent, I am trusting that that is going to pay off, right? In comparison to if I went into this and I had this expectation of, I have to give 100% every week, or that if it's not a perfect week, I'm going to start from scratch, or maybe even if I went in the mindset of being like, what's the point because it hasn't happened quick enough? None of that is helpful. This time is going to pass anyway for me. So I want to, do everything that I've said I'm going to do. And back to motivation, I really think that if you get into anything, it is really normal when you start something that you have high levels of motivation, but do not tell yourself that you need to feel that way to get to the gym, to meal prep, to do your steps. You're not expected to feel super motivated every single day. I definitely don't. The thing that is driving me and motivating me is, one, I really value being the kind of person who follows through with what they say they're going to do. I also want to see what I'm capable of. Like, that's one of my core values and the thing that's driving this challenge. And 3, I know that being motivated all the time is not a realistic expectation to have of myself. So what I do instead is I focus on sticking to the plan, not focusing on my feelings, just focusing on getting it done, and also building a bit of evidence to know that I've showed up so many times when I haven't felt like it, and I always feel better afterwards. I know that if I snooze my alarm and I make excuses and I, don't give it my all, that is going to make me feel really shit about myself. But if I, do the hard thing, I get up early, I get up when it's cold, I get the session done, I know that that builds my confidence. It makes me feel really good. It makes me feel unstoppable. So if you're always someone who's like resistant to that discomfort, I think that the thing that's going to make you feel better is actually diving headfirst into that discomfort. So I've gone on a little bit of a tangent, but my point is you don't need to be motivated all the time. You can get things done with low motivation as long as you have a plan to follow, and as long as you tick the boxes and you follow through with what you say you're going to do and you're following the right guidance. That's really important. I wanted to just say that is my mindset getting into this. Like, I'm doing this in winter. It's cold, it's miserable outside, but there's things that I've done to set myself up, and I'll quickly get into what those are. So I'm trying to get a decent amount of sleep, so trying to go to bed early. I lay out my activewear the night before so I know exactly what I'm going to wear the next day, because it just makes it smoother in the morning. I wake up early, my alarm goes off, my clothes are already there. It's just a good way to start the day. I already have a good idea of the meals that I like to eat, so I don't have to think every single day, like, how am I going to achieve XYZ? That also makes my life easier. Today is Sunday and I have done a food shop first thing in the morning like I always do, and I've just gotten organized with having a good idea of, yep, I'll probably have protein oats for breakfast, and then I'll probably have eggs on toast for brekkie. I'll go between a couple different lunch and dinner options, and there's just like not many things to think about other than just following through with what I've said I'm going to do. So I hope that this video has been helpful. I just kind of wanted to basically like introduce this phase that I'm getting into, and I'm hoping that it can be a really good value piece to help you education wise with actually breaking down exactly what I'm doing and my mindset going into this. Like, I've been coaching women for the last 8 years and I have lots of experience with coaching and getting really good results, and I also just want to show you what that looks like in practical terms by using me as a guinea pig. So let me know in the comments if you're thinking of starting a similar phase or if you're already in one. I'm going to be updating you at the halfway mark and at the end, so I give you a bit of a breakdown on how my progress is going. So make sure you follow along so we can be in this together.